Hi, I'm going to show you some things and talk to you about some things. Science and technology is a lot of what I write about and collect. And I'm the editor of a magazine called the Annals of Improbable Research. Improbable means unlikely, unexpected. The history of science and technology is a history of things we call breakthroughs. And they wouldn't be called breakthroughs if they hadn't seemed unlikely before. If they hadn't seemed maybe a little strange or funny or goofy. So consider that when I show you these things. We're going to start with a little piece of video.
The experimenter is against director, psychologist John Senders.
Driving along a section of Route 128, and I'm trying to get an estimate of the demand driver by this particular section of road. The speed of the car is constant, and as the road varies from moment to moment in the demand that it makes upon me, I must look more often or less often, as the case may be. The visor completely occludes my view.
I hope you'll agree that that deserves some kind of prize. And it got one. We gave an Ig Nobel Prize to that man. I'll explain in a minute what he did. This is all about improbable research and the Ig Nobel Prizes. We give out 10 prizes every year for things that have this quality. They make people laugh and then think. That's it. Things that make people laugh and then think. Things that, when you first see them, are funny, and a week later, they're still rattling around in your head, and all you want to do is talk to somebody about them. Every year since 1991, we've been giving out prizes for 10 of the best of these. And they are prizes. They're real prizes. This is an Ig Nobel Prize. It's a different design every year. What's common across all the years is they're made of extremely cheap materials. It's not easy to win a prize. We get something like 9,000 nominations every year. When we choose somebody to receive a prize, in most cases, we get in touch with that person very quietly, give them the opportunity to decline this honor if they want. But very few people turn it down. If you're chosen, if you win a prize, you win three things. You win an Ig Nobel Prize. You also get a piece of paper. It's a nice piece of paper. It says that you have won an Ig Nobel Prize, and it's signed by several people who have Nobel Prizes. So it's a very nice piece of paper to have. The third thing is an invitation to come and be part of the Ig Nobel Prize ceremony. It's held in this building. This is Sanders Theater. It's on the campus of Harvard University in the US. It's the oldest and biggest meeting place at Harvard. It fits 1,100 people. On Ig Nobel night, it's always completely filled. People come from around the world to be in the audience. It's webcast live. And here's what it looks like if you're on the stage looking out. The audience, many of them dress up and bring all sorts of things. They have a tradition of throwing paper airplanes the whole time. 1,100 people throwing paper airplanes. And up on the stage, waiting to greet the new Ig Nobel Prize winners are some famous scientists, some Nobel Prize winners and some others. This photo was taken at the ceremony 2 years ago. That year we had 9 Nobel Prize winners. There are other people in this photo. On the upper right in the back, the balding man is Benoit Mandelbrot. He's the inventor of fractals, a concept many of you may know. And it's a ceremony, so we used to have the same problem every ceremony in the world seems to have. Lots of people are giving speeches. We ask them to be very quick, but of course, people always have extra words to say. We solved that problem. Here's how we solved it. Every year, we get a very cute 8-year-old girl. We call her Miss Sweetie Poo. Miss Sweetie Poo sits on the side of the stage. I introduce her at the start of the night. And I explain that whenever Miss Sweetie Poo feels that somebody has talked long enough, she will let them know. I ask her to demonstrate. So Miss Sweetie Poo walks all the way across the stage, up to the person who's talking. She looks up at that person, and she says, "Please stop. I'm bored. Please stop. I'm bored. Please stop. I'm bored. Please stop. I'm bored." And it works. I'm going to very quickly show you a few people who have won Ig Nobel Prizes. We gave the Ig Nobel Prize in the category of peace a few years ago to a man named Daisuke Inoue from Japan. Daisuke Inoue is the inventor of karaoke. We gave him the Ig Nobel Peace Prize rather than some other category because by inventing karaoke, he invented an entirely new way for people to learn to tolerate each other. Here is Mr. Inoue at the ceremony. He gave his 1-minute acceptance speech, and then as he was about to sit down, I put my arm around him and we had a surprise. The Nobel Prize winners there came up and they sang a karaoke tribute to the inventor of karaoke. They sang, I think you know the song, "You're just too good to be true, can't take my eyes off of you," and the whole audience started singing along. It's a very nice moment. We gave an Ig Nobel Prize this past year in the field of public safety. Went to John Senders, a professor from Canada, for conducting experiments in which a person drives an automobile on a major highway while a visor repeatedly flaps down over his face, blinding him. That was the video you saw. He did that experiment in about 1964 on some major highways outside Boston. And they were doing that for months, and they never had an accident. This is John Senders at the Ig Nobel ceremony a few months ago accepting his prize. He's 91 years old. That's the helmet that he was using way back when. It's been in a museum ever since. The museum kindly lent it to us for the evening. We gave an Ig Nobel Prize in the field of chemistry a few years ago to a team of scientists from Mexico. They won an Ig Nobel Prize for creating diamonds from liquid, specifically from tequila. They turned tequila into diamonds. Here they are giving their acceptance speech at the Ig Nobel ceremony. You can see Miss Sweetie Poo helping them along. It's a different Miss Sweetie Poo. Remember, she's 8 years old, so we need to get a new one every year. These scientists had studied what happens. When they came to the Ig Nobel ceremony, they knew all about this 8-year-old girl, and they were prepared. So when she came up and she started to say, "Please stop, I'm bored. Please stop, I'm bored," one of them reached on his head and he took that big, floppy Mexican hat. He put it on Miss Sweetie Poo, which had no effect on her at all. The other one then reached in his coat and took out a bottle of tequila and handed it to her. That also had no effect. We gave an Ig Nobel Prize in the field of physics to, this was 12 years ago, in the year 2000, to André Geim of the Netherlands and Michael Berry of the United Kingdom. They were honored for using magnets to levitate a frog. Here's André Geim at the Ig Nobel ceremony. That's the original Miss Sweetie Poo you see, helping him finish. 10 years after this, 10 years after we gave André Geim an Ig Nobel Prize in physics, he was awarded a Nobel Prize in physics. Not for doing the same thing. His Nobel Prize was for discoveries of a substance called graphene, which is the two-dimensional form of carbon, which, if predictions are correct, will be in every device that all of us are using a few years from now. But even the way he did that was pretty goofy. He used Scotch tape and a pencil. That's how he made his great discovery. I imagine that most of you have not seen the frog levitated by a magnet. So I'll show you a couple of seconds of video. We gave an Ig Nobel Prize a few years ago in the category of environmental protection. The Environmental Protection Prize was awarded to Mr. Hyuk-ho Kwon of South Korea for inventing the self-perfuming business suit. Is there anyone here who owns one of these, who is wearing it today? Perhaps you're not familiar with it, some of you. The self-perfuming business suit is something which I believe is sold only in Korea. It's designed for business people who at the end of the workday have to go out. You must go out and spend their evenings in a smoky bar surrounded by smoke and alcohol, and then come home afterwards and pretend that they were not there. The business suit has, using a process called microencapsulation, it has little bits of chemical in it, and it smells of perfume in different things, different scents, peppermint, other scents. And you activate it simply by rubbing your suit like this. I am pleased to say that the inventor, Mr. Hyuk-ho Kwon, is with us today. May I ask him to stand up and take a bow? I would also like to ask the people who are right near him, could you stand up and rub his suit and smell it? Yeah, maybe the people in back of him, perhaps? Okay. Okay. Afterwards, if you can go up to some of these people and ask them how it smells, or go up and rub Mr. Kwon's suit, I'm sure he'll be very happy. Here he is at the ceremony, again being greeted by Miss Sweetie Poo. And he and his company, the Colon Company, very kindly made, I think, 6 of these suits. This was back in 1999. 5 of them they gave to the Nobel Prize winners who were there, and 1 of them they gave to me. And we all decided during the ceremony that the best thing to do would be to go out in the audience and ask the audience members to rub our suits. So that's what you see here, some famous scientists asking strangers to rub their clothing and smell them. We gave an Ig Nobel Prize in the field of public health a couple of years ago to a team led by Dr. Elena Bodnar. They were honored for inventing a brassiere that in an emergency can be quickly converted into a pair of protective face masks. Here are some technical drawings from the patent. Dr. Bodnar grew up in the country of Ukraine. She was a doctor, a young doctor, who treated victims of the Chernobyl power plant disaster. And some of those doctors have gotten in touch with each other periodically to talk about how things have been going. And she said they realized years later that most of the medical damage from Chernobyl came from what people breathed in. And they realized that if there had been some simple mask easily available, most of the medical problems would not nearly have been so bad. So she thought about that, and years later she came up with this idea. She came to the Ig Nobel ceremony, gave an acceptance speech, and then we had a demonstration. I'm going to show you video of her demonstrating the brassiere. And that's how the technology works. We gave an Ig Nobel Prize in the field of transportation in the year 2001. It was awarded jointly to Mr. John Keogh of Australia and to the Australian Patent Office, because in that year, in 2001, the Patent Office granted Mr. Keogh a patent for the wheel. This is the technical drawing from the Australian patent for the wheel. And finally, we gave the Ig Nobel Prize in the field of peace this past year to Mr. Artūras Zuokas. He is the mayor of the city of Vilnius, Lithuania. He won his Ig Nobel Prize for demonstrating that the problem of illegally parked luxury cars can be solved by running them over with an armored tank. Here is Mayor Zuokas at the Ig Nobel ceremony. He's holding up some little stickers he had made. He's a very skilled politician, you could see. He came prepared. And the last thing I'm going to show you is some video of how he performed his winning action.
Per paskutinės kelias dienas praktiškai šioje vietoje buvo priparkuotas, kaip ir šitas prabangus Mercedesas, Rolls-Royce'as, Ferrari iš Baltarusijos. Ir ką daryti su tokių prabangių automobilių šeimininkais, kurie nepaiso kelių taisyklių ir kurie galvoja, kad jie turi teisų per daug. Matyt, tankas yra geriausia priemonė.
That's an Ig Nobel winner. The next Ig Nobel ceremony happens this year on September 20th. You're all invited. If you can't come, I hope you will watch the live webcast. And the final thing I'd like to say to you is the last thing I say every year at the Ig Nobel Prize ceremony. If you did not win an Ig Nobel Prize this year, and especially if you did, better luck next year. Thank you.